So you've got this meeting coming up with the parents, and I'm going to be observing it. And I guess what I'm going to be looking for a little bit is the quality of the dialogue between the two of you.
Right.
Because you've clearly got an agenda, because the school wants the children to get such and such a result, and the action plans have been drawn up by the departments.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you'll feel that it's gone well if they say, thank you for the action plan, yes, we'll do what we can, and go off and do what they can with that.
Whether I've made myself clear and
whether
whether
you've communicated that way. But then the other question is whether maybe they've got some agendas or concerns or difficulties of their own, and whether they feel free or get the opportunity to raise those with you, because there might be some deeper problems. And sometimes you've got a superficial problem of someone's underachieving in a subject, but there might be something deeper going
reason for the...
And so sometimes being sensitive to little parts of their body language. You might start off by noticing sort of signs of tension. It could be sitting back a little bit, or arms crossed, or just in the eyes, and tensions in the face and around the mouth, and nervousness. And always in these conversations, it's noticing the moment when they relax. If you suddenly see someone kind of the shoulders drop down because they feel you've been listening, or they feel that you're getting through to something that they want to open up about or share. But while there's a kind of, they're tense and being defensive, they might kind of say yes, we'll do that, and not really mean it. But if they're relaxed, then you're thinking, they're much more likely to deliver, and there's a partnership forming. Well, she knows the community and she knows the parents, and I think that's her big advantage, that she can talk to the parents as a parent rather than as a teacher. And so she'll be a lot less threatening, and they might be much more ready to open up, relax, and not feel defensive. I think for a lot of parents, if the school wants to intervene, and it's, if it's a deputy head teacher particularly, or a head, parents are going to feel defensive, and that's quite natural that they should. But I think Lynn, because she's grew up here and knows everyone so well, and is a non-threatening person, she'll perhaps enable the parents to open up a little bit more, and therefore engage them constructively.
Hi, Mr. Gordon, Mrs. Jarvie.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
And Mr. Council.
Hello, good to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Mr. Council, Assistant Head. Thanks for coming, and thanks for waiting for us. There's a group of pupils that we've asked all the parents to come in over the last couple of weeks. And what we're going to be doing with them is we're setting up action plans with the parents to actually try to make sure that they get those 5 A to C's that are critical for them to get a job or college.
Most of the talking was being done by Rob, and by the school was doing the talking. But we didn't really have dialogue. And I think that's a big change, that notion that we should be listening and jointly solving the problems.
Hi, it's good to meet you. Hello,
This is Mr. Council.
So that's, she obviously is behind with a course with there quite a bit. And
She
needs to do a lot of
is,
work.
yes.
So if you can check that planner all the time just to make sure there's any comments in there about homeworks or about the after-school classes, that's on a sort of a day-to-day basis, but you will also have this fortnightly contact right the way through to the exams now.
We got lots of agreement, but I kind of wondered what that agreement was really based on back in the home, and I think that would be the next step forward. To see these as an opportunity to listen to the parents. And there wasn't the opportunity really for the parent to actually say, well, we've got these issues at home. Right, well done.
How was that?
A couple of useful meetings there, yes. What did you feel you gained from those then, Lynn?
I did pick up a lot, obviously, with Mr. Council being in on those meetings from parents. There wasn't enough information there to be able to relay back to parents to be able to go away with stuff to then act upon.
And you had 2 wonderfully cooperative parents. They were a little nervous, but they were kind of agreeing, and you didn't have a rough time with either of them.
No.
But sometimes you might. And I guess the element that was missing really was the element in which they were able to contribute to the discussion. Something that says, tell us from your point of view why we might have had this site slipping off. They're supposed to be getting C's and they've slipped below, or they've missed those assignments. Were there some issues? Are there some current issues? But there was an opportunity there and then to say, from your point of view, is everything going fine, or are there some areas where...
I think that's really important, because often it isn't just individual subject areas, it is something as an overview that there might be a reason of why they're underachieving. And that'd save us a lot of time actually to listen properly to the parents.
So there was an opportunity, a bit of diagnosis there, and also to say, well, this is a partnership. I mean, partly you've got an agenda, get them through their GCSEs at 5 A stars or 5 C grades. They might have a slightly different agenda, and it's worth knowing what that is. And their children, what's motivating their son or daughter at the moment? How motivated is she? If you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated is she or he at home about their schoolwork? And they say 1 to 10, oh gosh, she might be just 4.5, They start thinking quite specifically, because there's not a right or wrong answer on a scale of 1 to 10. You actually get some answers that say, well, if she's a 5, what might make her feel a 6? What could we do? What could you do as parents? What could we do as teachers that would move her from a 5 to a 6? And how would that feel like? And then that's moving into a coaching technique rather than we're just putting the screws on technique. Mm-hmm. And they've got their own agenda and their own ambitions. And what are their ambitions? So with a bit of luck, these 2 meetings will achieve the result, and those kids will get their 5 A to C grades or whatever. But in terms of the nature of those meetings, I think the school might think about how it can turn those into a genuine dialogue that is finding out perhaps what the root cause of some of the problems are, and are there some deeper issues that we need to plumb into and solve.
Improving one-on-one communication is seen as essential for schools, but Holden Lane are also keen to explore more imaginative ways of involving parents. We're taking Lynn to visit James Brindley High School, just 2 miles away. They've discovered a way to break down some of the communication barriers is to engage teachers, parents and children in family learning activities. The added extra incentive for parents was the opportunity to explore some of their latent abilities as well as creative potential. Lynn's sitting in on one of their most popular classes. It's the go-karting club, where they've incorporated some real mechanical engineering into the building and racing of the karts.
For example. So, can anyone give us a few ideas? Now, there had been a survey of parents in terms of what do you want us to help you with. And one of the things that was quite emotionally, quite high really, was this one of help us to play with our children. Which struck a chord really, because there was a certain cry of, we want to be involved, but how do we want to be involved?
I came to this school as a teenager, and I don't think my parents were ever involved in anything. I don't think they were ever invited to be involved in anything. If the parents are isolated and not kept informed and things like that, then people don't want to know from either side. I feel that when they get to that age, they don't communicate. When he gets home from school, if you asked him what he'd been doing, he'd just say, nothing. And I think you get more involved, you get to see what sort of things they get up to, and you meet some of the teachers.
We need to make sure that those who've got oil in now, I saw you doing a check on the vehicle before.
If you've got a passion like I have for something and you can bring that to the school, then people pick up on that straight away. It's the same as a classroom practitioner. If you're putting enthusiasm into the subject, then the students pick up on that straight away, and if they're enjoying it and you're enjoying it and everybody's learning something, then that's a perfect scenario.
Can anyone remember from last week what these bits are called? Pistons.
For some children, they actually see their parents being involved in it. Their parents value it. So if it's something that parents are giving up their time to come and do, learning goes up the scale. And we also wanted to be part of the community itself, because we saw a need there where many of our parents had actually left school with perhaps not the best education that could have been offered at the time.
The school did some extensive analysis to find out exactly what the parents were looking for. And with some surprising results, some of the parents and children have started their own blues band.
At first I never thought I'd be able to do it, but after 3 lessons and a bit of practice, it was coming together, and it makes you feel better, so it pushes you a bit more.
You're starting any instrument, it takes a lot of dedication, practice and commitment. And what I was really, really impressed with, that the dedication of parents who came after school, that was great for me, because this is what the whole concept is. It's about family learning.
It's breaking down the barriers so that they were more comfortable at actually then getting onto some of the other things, like being involved in our parent voice, being confident enough to actually say to the school, well, you say this, but actually it's not happening. And being involved then in evaluating some of our policies, and it all starts to move on. It's this one of feeling that they are a partner.
The school also took part in an externally run award scheme, which audited and supported them on reaching a higher level of communication with parents.
It's the process of going through it. It's giving a bit of impetus there. It's having an action plan. It's saying to parents, we cannot get this without your help. Therefore, when we get it, we all celebrate that kind of award. So it's all of those kind of things. And you do see a difference. You see a difference in relationships. It's much better when you're talking to children to actually say, well, I do know your mother, I do know your father.
To round off her visit to James Brindley, Lynn is meeting up with Shirley Elamori from the Leading Parent Partnership Award and Kath Reynolds from Family Learning, who both helped support the improved communication programme at James Brindley.
Parents coming into school, I think, has an association with misbehaviour, underachievement. It's not necessarily seen as something positive if your parents come into school, and that's the mindset that we do have to work on to change. And that's what's been positive here at James Brindley, that they've said, come in and get involved with this. This is a really good project. Your kids want to do it. You'd have fun as well. And that's really been a major selling point for them.
One school recently did an evaluation of attendance at consultation evening and realised that it was actually parents from one estate who didn't come because the buses didn't run after 7 and very few of them had cars. So they sent the school minibus out and attendance increased by about threefold, I think. Right. But they hadn't realised that because they hadn't done the analysis.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic the way the parents were interacting with the kids. I think perhaps if we start off in the early years, then yeah, I think it would take off quite well. I don't think it'd take off quite as well with the older section of the school, but the early years, starting in year 7, yeah, I think it'd be good.
And sometimes you find that, there's an accusation with parents of they've got low aspirations. That wasn't the case around here. They wanted better for their children than they'd had. What they needed was, how do we go about doing it? So things like adult learning was a mechanism. It was a way of actually engaging parents with their children in something that was a bit of fun and something that they could achieve at and they could share and celebrate.
The hard-to-reach parents is the key to all of this, because it's the parents who are the hardest to reach that are probably the parents you need to reach most.
There are going to be many parents in this school who would want to get those kind of events up and running at the school. And that's where it'll link in with the family support, adult literacy classes, college in the community, all these kind of things that we can use to improve the skills and the confidence of adults who are hard to reach and hopefully get them involved. And it can make such a difference to their child's life.